have a theory, and this is my own personal theory, and in some ways I'm probably biased towards the way I think this. But with all these groups, with all people feeling that they're being taken advantage of, that they're being singled out, you know, everywhere from the Black Lives Matter to different illegal alien groups to, you know, different religion groups that are so mad at the system right now that they're sitting there blaming law enforcement. They're blaming things that are not helped on their end. And the reason why I think that is because they no longer feel that they have equal rights under law, and they're going after the people that enforce the laws instead of going after the justice system itself. Meaning it's not the police's fault for them following the laws and for them having to make arrests, you know. However, when these people get into court, they don't have fair and just legal representation because our system is so out of date and lawyers are so expensive that when they get appointed a public defender, that public defender does not act or as they may feel on their behalf, which means they don't have rights. And here it is, the people with money, you know, they can afford these big fancy lawyers who they'll go make backroom deals. They can buy their way out of trouble. Yet the people that don't have money or cannot afford a good attorney and have to go with a lesser reputable attorney, they all of a sudden, they have no rights because they go into court and they lose, or they go into court and the decisions have already been made, or they go into court with a public defender who's not looking out for their best interests. And with Legal Shield, with what I do, there's so few of us that can get out there to the people and say, hey, we're going to give you fair and just legal representation, or at least do everything in our part to keep you out of court. You know, they don't know we exist. And so what do? Is they go blame, you know, those that are enforcing the laws when actually they're part of a legal system that, let's face it, that's abandoned them. And, you know, yes, right now, Legal Shield is the only system out there that gives them, that will protect them to the trivial and traumatic. And so you got to ask yourself, all these people that say they have lawyers and they got public defendants and they don't need it, they're the first ones that complain about the system not being fair or just. Yet there is an alternative out there, which is Legal Shield. And since we're in 49 states, but the only way to know about us is to go through Legal Shield Associates. We don't advertise because it's the only way we can keep our prices low. And right now, when we're representing over 3.8 million families, and on top of the 8 million families, we have over 50,000 small-based businesses. We have over 16,000, you know, CDL drivers that we protect. There's 355 million people in the United States. And, you know, we're glad we have no competition. But let's face it, when there's so few of us, we have to grow more in order to get to everybody because insurance doesn't protect your legal rights. You know, all these other companies, they sit there and bill you and charge you for every little thing. They nickel and dime you to death. Yet then there's Legal Shield, who once you have us, you know, with or without us, you're going to may get the same answer from a lawyer, but it's better to get that either free or for your monthly membership, which is less than $5 a week, compared to $250 an hour from a regular law firm, or get a public defendant that in most cases does not have your best interest at heart and could really care less about, you know, you get put on the back burner, or you get negotiated behind courtroom doors, and we all know this stuff goes on. Now, I'm not saying lawyers are bad or anything else, but I am saying that the way our system's set up is if you don't have money, then you're not going to get adequate legal representation. And for the most part, if you don't know your rights, you don't have rights. So it causes a lot of distress in people. It causes a lot of, the system's broken, the system don't work. Oh, they're singling me out. Oh, nobody cares about me. I'm that poor guy living at the bottom of the totem pole. Uncle Sam's not paying for my legal defense. What am I going to do? Right now, you have to have car insurance. You have to have homeowners insurance. You have to have medical insurance. And those things are all covered, and people aren't mad in those industries. The industry they're mad in is their rights, our constitutional rights, our laws. The laws, at the local, state, federal level, that they don't feel that they have adequate representation. They don't feel they have people on their side. And in the end, what happens is they're starting to act out because nobody wants to help the small guy anymore. Nobody, unless you got the money, unless you're willing to be nickeled and dimed to death, there's nobody out there to help you. With Legal Shield, I feel strongly, and yes, I may have a bias, and yes, it may be my own personal theory, but when you're paying less than $5 a month and getting the exact same services that you pay $250 an hour for, to me, that's pretty good. You see, people can afford $5 a week. They can't afford $500 a week. Okay? If lawyers are $250 an hour and you got a pretty big case, how many hours are you going to go visit with that lawyer? And how much money is it going to cost you in the long run? Okay, so you get into the criminal realm, or you get in the DUI realm, or you get into the family cases or the contested cases, divorces. Okay, you're right. That's going to be a little more expensive from Legal Shield, but you're still getting a 25% preferred member discount when in most cases that's still saving you thousands of dollars compared to paying full price for lawyers that are going to give you the same exact advice that you get from our lawyers. There's no difference in them. The only difference is we spread load it through 3.8 million families and all of our small-based businesses. And in turn, we pass on that savings to you. And our lawyers are not out to bill you to death. They don't care about that part. They're out there to take care of your situation and prevent you from even having to go into court, and making sure that your rights and your freedoms are upheld, and making sure that you know what your rights and legal options are. To me, Legal Shield, the lawyers help you